All right, so we're going to be setting up a new project in Unreal. So go ahead and open up the Epic Games Launcher, go to your library, and then you can choose either 5.44 or 5.51 or 2, whichever one you want. I'm going to stick with just 5.44. Go ahead and launch and give it a minute to open up. All right, from within the Unreal Project browser, go ahead and go to Games and click on Third Person as a template. Set your project location. Make sure you know where this is at. If yours is going to go to Documents, that's fine. Unreal Projects, that works too. Just make sure you know where it's at. For your settings over here on the right, go ahead and leave it as Blueprint. Even though this is going to be for setting up for C++, I'm going to show you how to turn the project from Blueprint into C++. Target platform desktop, quality maximum, starter content, go ahead and leave that on. And as far as the name, go ahead and just call it Test CPP Project or something like that. And go ahead and click on Create. All right, so this is a starter project that is just simple. You have a character that runs around, can jump. Everything that is in the scene is considered something called an actor, which we'll learn more about later. An actor is just basically an object in the game. So these boxes that are here are actors. The floor, the ground, the player when it's running, those are all actors. There are different kinds of actors, but because they all derive from the base actor class, we can actually create actors using C++. So to do that, you're going to go ahead and go up to Tools, New C++ class. And as far as your settings, go ahead and set it to Actor. Now here, just so you know, you have a bunch of different types of settings that you could work with for different things, but again, we're just going to work with Actor for right now. Click on Next. And here you can change your class type, your name, and its location. So public and private has to do with whether or not it is public or private. It puts the body of it into a public folder or private folder, whether or not you can access it. Generally, we go for private, but for this, I'm going to leave it as public just because we want to avoid some complications. As far as the name, go ahead and call it item, which is going to be a thing that we make. And pay attention to where these are saved. You get two different files. You have your header file and your source file. Now, those have to do with the breakup of classes into header files and source files, where the header is usually made public where anyone can see it, so you can import it into other classes, while your source file is where the actual work happens, where the main function and all that stuff goes. Once that's done, go ahead and hit Create Class. It's going to bring up some loading screens, and it's going to ask you to close Unreal. And if you want to add a code, go ahead and follow those directions. It'll take a few minutes though. And so now it's asking if I want to include sources. Please go to Editor, click OK, and then click Yes. So the Visual Studio open, we get this Unreal Engine integration configuration checker, where if you hit this blue circle up here, it'll run some integration checks to see if it's all set up. Looks like I have some things set up, but not everything. Looks like it requires a build, and then there's a plugin that needs to be installed, which we'll show you how to do that in a moment. All right, now go ahead and close Visual Studio and close Unreal. Go ahead and go to your File Explorer. You're going to go down to this PC, Windows, Program Files, Epic Games, UE 5.4, Engine, Extras, Unreal VS. Double click on that. VS 2022. Here you have 4 files. Go ahead and hit this one, the one with the .vsix extension. It's going to ask you to install the Unreal plugin for Visual Studio. Click Install. And when that's ready, go ahead and hit Close. Go ahead and open up Visual Studio again and wait for that to load. So from within here, you're going to see your project you just created, go ahead and open that up. You may, over here on the right hand side, you may see this thing where it says based on your solution, you might want to install extra components for full development experience. Go ahead and click install. You might or might not have this. It's asking for this build tool for .NET Desktop development. I'm going to go ahead and click install, though you might not need to. Right, so I finished installing and opened up Visual Studio back up. Next, we need to actually go to open up a browser, and we're going to go to fab.com. While you're here, if you wanted to, you can go ahead and grab the free items that are here for the month. Grab those, always good to grab those. But what we're looking for is something called Visual Studio. So I actually just search Visual Studio. You'll see Visual Studio Integration Tool. Click on that. Click Add to Library. I already have mine, but go ahead and click Add to Library. And then we're going to click on View in Launcher. It'll ask to open up Game Launcher. Go ahead and do that. Then down in Fab Library, hit the refresh button. And then you should be able to search for Visual Studio. You'll see Visual Studio Integration Tool. Click Install the engine. Now, I already have mine installed, but install this on the engine that pops up for you. Then you should be good to go on that front. All right, into Visual Studio. Go ahead and hit that checker, and this should all clear out as far as your blueprint support, your Visual Studio integration tools, and then test adapter. Your naming convention checker status and HLSL support, we're not worried about these. So you can go ahead and close this tab out. Now we have a few settings we need to set up within here, a few additional settings, I should say, that we want to just go through to make sure we have things set up properly. First one, if you go into Tools, Theme, you can change your theme to different versions, different setups. I like dark, though actually you can go ahead and get more themes if you wanted to. And you can grab different ones. I tend to actually like, there's a material one that I like. A material theme. You can click download and you can get that going, and you can just click on it and it'll install it for you. All right, so I have my new theme installed, so that's that. Then you're gonna go back into Tools, Options. And we have a few things we're gonna change in here. So first off, we're going to turn off an error list. You're gonna minimize environment, projects and solutions. Then you're going to go to General. And this checkbox that says always show error list if build finished with errors, go ahead and turn that off. Next, if you go to text editor, all languages, and then expand that out, scroll bars, turn on use map mode for vertical scroll bar. So that is, let me show you what that is. It lets you, it changes the scroll bar over here to make it wider, but you kind of get a preview of what's in that section as you're hovering over it. When you have really large programs, large files, it'd be good to kind of easily see what's going on. Plus you have these little hints that you get, that shows you, hey, something's going on here, or there's an error here, possibly, things like that. Makes it easier to kind of find those. Go to text editor, C++, C++, then advanced. And we're going to look for hide external dependencies folder and set this to true. Mine was already on. Go ahead and change yours to true here. And we'll scroll down in here, look for IntelliSense. We want to make sure disable IntelliSense is false. So IntelliSense is the predictive tool that, you know, highlights when there's an issue, or it gives you hints as to what you're typing, or possibly autocomplete. So it's usually good to have on. So I'm gonna make sure that this is set to false. And back in here, under C++, we're going to go to View, and then we're going to look for Show Inactive Blocks. Set this to false. Mine was already false. Go and change yours to false. This makes it so functions or things that don't get used don't get grayed out, because sometimes Unreal, the way it works, it looks like something's not being used even though it is. And then finally, back in the menu, go to debugging, general, scroll down until you find enable hot reload. Turn this off. Hot reload is a tool that can be used in Unreal Engine and other C++ programming tools to do a fake compile. It doesn't really always work, and honestly, we don't want to have access to it. We just want to have that off. So go ahead and hit OK when you're done. There's actually one last change I want to make here. This little window is too small and we can't see the full width, and it's easy enough fix, so might as well just take care of it. So over in the blank area to the right of that bar, right click and hit customize. Then go to commands. For your toolbar, switch to toolbar. Then go to standard. And scroll down until you get to solution configurations. Modify selection. And set it to like 125. Or maybe even bigger. Let's do 135. We want to be able to see which version it's on, because we will end up changing that later. We want to make sure it's clear which one we're actually on. And that's your primary configuration. Set up for Visual Studio, so you should be good to go. But how do we actually run this? I'm going to go to build, and you have a few different things you can do in here. Build solution. So what build solution does, Control-Shift-B, that takes everything that's in here, because you actually have multiple projects that are inside of this project, and it will rebuild everything. It takes a little longer, but this is sometimes going to be necessary. Go ahead and click on build solution. Then down at the bottom, you're going to end up seeing output and possibly an error list. So the error list is going to end up pretty much always showing some errors. So we don't really care about this. So I'm actually going to go ahead and right click and close it. I just want to have the output. And this is going to take a little while. You can see that mine says 1 of 9, building 9 actions started. Give it a minute for it to finish, and then when it says completed or succeeded, that's when you know you're good to go. Right, so mine is showing build completed at 9:12, shows how long it took, and it says build 50 succeeded, 0 failed, 0 up to date, 1 skipped. So that's about right. Sometimes though, you only want to just do a build of your actual game. So this is another option that's a little bit quicker. Sometimes you should default to build the project, then build solution only if things don't quite work. I'm going to go ahead and click this again. You can also, again, just hit Control-B. So because I already built the entire solution and didn't make any changes, the compile is already done. So easy enough. Now, how to actually open this up in Unreal? Well, up top, you're going to see some different settings up here. You're going to see this play button that says Windows Local Debugger, and then an actual play button. Hit the one that does not say Local Windows Debugger, so the empty play button. Click on that, and it will load up on Unreal Engine, and this might take a little while. So pay attention, see it pops up. You can see that mine popped up already. So give it a minute to load, and we'll check in. So, all right, so I'm having a weird glitch with my Unreal. You might or might not have this issue, but the content drawer isn't showing a folder with my C++ classes. I have to actually go to Window, Content Browser, and then hit this to turn this on. I have to dock it to the layout for it to actually show up, which is kind of annoying, but it's fine. So here we have this item class that was made. In order for us to actually use this though, go to my content drawer, my content folder, right click, new folder, and I'll call this Blueprints. Now I'll go back to my public folder, find this create blueprint class from, and then again, I'll call it BP_item. I'll put it into blueprints, click create item class. This creates a blueprint that where we can edit everything like we could like a normal blueprint. but it's based in C++ code. I'll dock that up there for now. And I'm going to go into my blueprint folder, and I can see I have BP item. I can click and drag this into my world, and now I have my item that was created. And I can move it around. And it doesn't really do anything yet, but it's there. In the next video, we'll actually get it to, do something.